Ever wonder how pros get crystal clear and punchy vocals in their mixes? I've shown you some of these secrets in my other videos, techniques like parallel compression that help you achieve a thicker vocal almost instantaneously. But another secret I want to share with you in today's video is vocal limiting. Yes, that's right, using a limiter directly on your individual vocal channels. Many of you are probably already familiar with limiting when it comes to mastering, but applying it to an individual track like a vocal is a bit of a different process that I'm going to show you. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a better understanding of how to apply a limiter directly to your vocals to achieve bigger, louder, and more professional sounding mixes. The first thing we should cover though is why should we use a limiter? We don't want to reach for a limiter just because I or your favorite engineer told you to, but rather for a specific reason. And in my experience, there's three main reasons to use a limiter. The first is to control peaks and prevent clipping. A limiter can be used to control any sudden loud peaks in a vocal track, ensuring that the overall volume stays consistent and doesn't clip or distort. So for example, I may have a track that's exceeding the level of digital 0 and therefore clipping or going into the red. I can put a limiter on this channel, set the output ceiling to -0.1 dB, and voila, my track will now no longer be clipping as a result of using this limiter. To be clear, your vocals shouldn't be clipping at the recording stage. I talk about this at length in my how to set recording levels video, which I'll link to up above right now. However, sometimes after doing processing such as EQ and compression, your vocal track may get hot and may even clip and require this type of corrective treatment. The second reason is to balance levels. A limiter can be used to balance the levels of a vocal track with other instruments in the mix. This can be particularly useful if the vocals are sitting too high or too low at times and need to be brought up a bit. If the levels of the different sections of your vocal performance really vary, you may want to consider using a limiter in this case to help balance out the levels by reducing the level of the louder parts and increasing the level of the quieter parts in the process. And the third reason is to increase perceived loudness. A limiter can increase perceived loudness by reducing the dynamic range of an audio signal, which can make it sound louder without actually increasing the peak level. In addition, limiting can increase the average level of an audio signal by reducing the level of the loudest parts. By bringing down the level of these peaks, the overall level of the signal can be raised without causing distortion or clipping. Basically, if you want your vocal to sound louder and more present in the mix, or you're struggling with getting the vocals to sit exactly where you want, you may want to reach for a limiter to help you increase the perceived loudness of the vocals by reducing their dynamic range and increasing their average level. So now let's discuss placement. Where exactly should I put the limiter in my vocal chain? It's a good idea to place the limiter towards the end of the chain, after the other processing like EQ, compression, and effects like reverb and delay. If you put the limiter ahead of these processes, they may undermine the limiter altogether and essentially undo the evening out effect that the limiter produces. For example, if you boost the presence of the high frequencies with an EQ, it can make sibilant sounds like S's and T's more prominent, which can create harsh peaks in the vocal signal. Therefore, by placing the limiter at the end of the vocal chain in the last potential plugin slot, you can ensure that it's catching any peaks that may have been created by earlier processing. So now let's get to the meat and potatoes of this video and answer the question you've been wondering. How exactly should we set up this limiter? I've got my limiter put into the last slot on my vocal chain here. This is the Waves L1 limiter, which is my go-to for individual vocal tracks, but feel free to use what you have as most limiters will have the same parameters that we're about to explore together. Now, before we get into this, notice how I already have my vocal chain essentially set up. I've already done a variety of processing, and I've also set my vocal level. It's important we do this before we get to this step. This limiting should almost be like the cherry on top that finalizes everything. Let me actually bypass the limiter and let's play this track so you can hear exactly where we're starting.
How long do I really gotta wait for? 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 Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait?
Overall, it's actually pretty good and very passable as is. However, I find that some aspects of the artist's vocal performance is getting a bit washed out or pushed into the background compared to other parts. For example, over here, there's a part where he goes, "Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait?" And he starts getting a little bit more sort of hushed in the way that he's performing that vocal. And I feel like that's sort of backing off and not sounding as direct or upfront as the part that precedes it. I'm specifically talking about this part.
Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah.
You can tell how that part just feels a little bit more reserved. And of course, I could go in and automate the volume and do something else, but we really want to focus on trying to use the limiter to bridge the gap between these quieter moments and the louder moments that come maybe before or after it, and overall just make it it sound a little bit more cohesive or uniform with one another. So I'm going to keep the track soloed from here just so we can really focus on what we're doing. But don't worry, I will play this again later on in this video in full context to confirm all of the decisions that we've made. Now, the first thing that I really want to emphasize here is my track is not clipping at all. You may think that you only need to reach for a limiter when your track is clipping, but that simply isn't the case. While a limiter can be used to prevent clipping and distortion in a mix, we're really trying to use this to shape the dynamics of our track and create a more consistent level while of course increasing the perceived loudness as we've already discussed. Now, the actual level I've set my vocals at is very key here, and it'll be key for you as well. Ultimately, I want the limiter to essentially keep the volume roughly where it is, but I want to use the limiter to then drive the volume a little bit further. Now, that means before you even get to this step, you want to make sure that you have the vocal sitting roughly where you want it to be. This is definitely a taste thing. There's no number here that I could tell you that you should set your vocal to. You should ultimately just get it to a place where you like it. If it's too loud or too quiet, you definitely want to make some additional adjustments before proceeding. That being said, I have my track sitting pretty much in a good place, right where I want it, and now I can focus on using the limiter here to now drive that level once again. Assuming you like where your levels are set, the first thing we're going to want to do is identify the loudest peak volume of your track that you're applying this to. So in this case, it's this chorus that I'm affecting, and I want to figure out where is the loudest peak, or what is the value of the loudest peak, and we're going to ultimately set our output ceiling around that. The output ceiling parameter on a limiter sets the maximum output level that the limiter will allow, and this means that any audio signals that exceed this level will be reduced or limited by the limiter, regardless of whether it exceeds the threshold or not, which is a whole separate parameter as you can see here. So to do this, we ultimately want to bypass the limiter and close it for a moment and get your channel to show the peak volume, okay? Some DAWs do this automatically. In Pro Tools, I just have to hold command, click twice, and I can see PK, and I can now see the loudest peak level in my track. And then what you want to do is you want to play the loudest or most dynamic part of your track, or maybe you want to play your entire song from start to finish, and this number is ultimately going to display the loudest peak, right? So I want to focus on that and see ultimately what is the loudest peak on my channel. So let's play this and take that in.
Yeah, how long do I really gotta wait for? 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 Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I?
So I'll pause it there. We can see that the peak level is actually minus 2.8. So I'm going to open up my limiter again. I'm going to unbypass it, and I'm going to set this out ceiling to match that exact value, minus 2.8. So now what that means is this track is going to output the loudest points at minus 2.8, okay? So if something was louder than minus 2.8 before, it's all coming down to minus 2.8. But similarly, when I start getting into the threshold and we start manipulating this further and adding gain in that process, it's also going to make the quieter parts come up, and potentially those quieter parts, though, they might be getting enough volume to exceed minus 2.8, but this output ceiling would now prevent that from even happening. It would basically allow you to increase the quietest parts up to almost a maximum output of minus 2.8, if that makes sense. Ultimately, nothing is going to be exceeding this minus 2.8 value, and that's in line with already how loud the track is. So with our output ceiling set, we can now focus on setting our threshold. Now, much like a compressor, the threshold determines when the actual limiter, in this case, begins to work. Essentially, once your vocal passes the threshold level that we set, the limiter will work to reduce the level of the signal. Now, with this limiter and many others, the threshold is actually tied to the output volume. So as you bring the threshold down on a signal, the output level actually goes up by an equal amount. And similar to a compressor, this volume increase is not only going to happen to the loud peaks that pass the threshold and get reduced, but also those quieter moments that don't pass the threshold and aren't reduced. Basically, you get the benefit of making your track louder overall without running into the issue of it clipping because of how we're setting this up. Now, sometimes on certain limiters, the threshold is labeled as gain. Keep that in mind if you're dealing with a different limiter than I'm using here, although generally the threshold and the gain parameters are roughly the same. Now, because we've analyze the peaks, we know that the loudest moment of this track is currently minus 2.8 dB, which is the same as our output ceiling. And that means we can actually set our threshold to exactly that point, and technically speaking, we should be at a place where we're starting to see this limiter work. Now, chances are, because this is the loudest peak, we're probably not going to get any gain reduction. This meter on the right here is the gain reduction. It's showing us how much volume we're losing or how much the limiter is actually working, right? We want to actually see this lighting up, because otherwise, while we would be benefiting from, let's say, a 2.8 dB increase to the overall volume of our track, we're actually not really getting any limiting, and therefore this whole process is a bit pointless. We actually could have just increased the level of the volume fader on our track instead, right? We're basically not achieving anything that we couldn't have done with some proper gain staging. In this situation, we want to make sure that we're actually utilizing the limiter to get a unique result that nothing else could. So for example, let's play this right now with minus 2.8. Let's see how much gain reduction we're getting, if any.
Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? 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 Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for?
So of course you can see we're basically getting no gain reduction at all. This meter has not lit up at all. We're not seeing anything getting reduced. And of course, I really wanted to focus on the louder moments of this track, which would be before and after that do I gotta wait part. So for us to get the most out of this limiter, we want to continue to bring the threshold down even further in order to trigger a more consistent gain reduction in our track while also giving us even more volume. So to do that, I'm going to play this track again and bring down the threshold until I see some more consistent gain reduction taking place in the gain reduction meter. Now to be clear, I don't want this limiter to be fully clamping down the entire time, but I would like to achieve on average about 1 to 3 dB of consistent gain reduction during the loudest moments of our track. Some phrases may not get reduced at all while the louder phrases might. That's perfectly okay. In fact, that's what we want. We want to make sure the louder parts are actually the ones that are getting limited and that the quiet parts are almost fully benefiting from just getting some more gain or volume. So let's try this and we'll summarize where we end up after.
Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? 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 Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah.
As you can hopefully tell, at one point I purposefully pushed the threshold too far, which created a bloated, fuzzy, overdriven type of sound with my vocal, complete with a very significant and very consistent amount of gain reduction. And this is obviously not something that I wanted, nor something I recommend to you guys unless you really want that sound. However, I did eventually settle on a more subtle threshold, and that was set lower than our output ceiling and peak level. In this case, I've got my threshold set to minus 5.2, which means I'll also be adding about 5.2 dB of volume back to the overall track, regardless of what passes the threshold. And similarly, if you pay attention to the gain reduction meter as I played this, you'll see that I'm now achieving about 1 to 3 dB of gain reduction on average for those loud moments. Some moments definitely aren't being limited, and therefore they're just purely benefiting from that volume, like I said before. And the interesting thing is we don't really hear a noticeable reduction in the quality of the vocal. We just hear a nice loudness boost and an increase in the track's overall consistency. Now, something you may be wondering about is what about the attack, the release, and the other parameters? Now, some limiters like the FabFilter Pro L2, for example, give you access to an attack, a release, and several other settings that this limiter obviously doesn't give you. Most of these parameters affect the overall tone of the limiter, okay? So while they will adjust how the limiter works to some degree, I find the biggest thing you're going to get from it is it's just going to sound a little bit different. The tone is going to be a little bit different. And a good general rule to follow if you do have access to these parameters, at least if you want to set this up in a transparent way, is use a slow attack time and a fast release time. In the case of this limiter, the only other parameter I have access to is the release. As a general starting point, a release time of about 50 to 100 milliseconds is a good place to start for vocal tracks. However, it's obviously important to listen carefully to the effect of the limiter on the vocal and adjust your release time as needed to achieve the desired effect. So for example, if your vocals sound too squashed and unnatural, try increasing the release time. So make it faster, and that might actually make it sound more natural. However, if your vocals are just way too dynamic and they're all over the place, maybe it's creating a mess in your mix, well then you want to do the opposite. You want to actually decrease the release time so that the limiter actually affects it more aggressively and for a longer period of time. Now the L1 and a lot of other limiters similar to it have an auto release function, and that is typically what I like to use because it dynamically chooses the optimal release value in a way that human hearing expects. So it basically will analyze the RMS or average volume and the peak volume of your track in real time, and it'll react to each differently, which will actually produce a more natural sound overall. At least that's how I perceive it. So for that reason, I typically leave auto release on. However, feel free to play with this yourself and see how the release time and the attack time and these other parameters will affect your sound if you have access to them. Overall, I would say the threshold and the output ceiling are the main settings that are going to most drastically affect your vocal sound, and of course the ones that I would focus on the most above all else. Let's do a quick A/B. I'm going to bypass the limiter and put it in.
Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? 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 Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for?
Pretty significant volume difference, as you can tell when I switch between them, and definitely a difference in presence. Now, this sounds great in solo mode, but because of the drastic change in volume and consistency, we should actually do a final step of reevaluating how this track fits into the context of the mix. Now, what that means is I'm actually going to unsolo this channel here and play this in the context of everything. And I'm going to actually reevaluate if I need to change the volume fader level, that final volume fader level. And that's because, of course, this track is now louder, or feels louder at the very least. This usually means reducing the overall level of the track that we've applied the limiter to, like so.
Trying to try, but how long do I really gotta wait for? 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 Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah.
Now this feels much better and more in line when you hear the context of everything. So just to be thorough, I'm gonna play this one more time. I'm gonna let you hear how this sounded before we did any of this limiting at the original volume it was at, and then you're gonna hear it again with what we just did.
Oh, do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Do I gotta wait? Yeah. How long do I really gotta wait for? How long do I really gotta wait for?
This is just one of the many secrets that pros use to achieve bigger, fuller mixes. And if you want to learn another one, click the video that you're going to see on screen right now. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of value out of it. If you learned something in this video, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more mixing tips like this one. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. All right? Peace.
5